So we're now at 25 years of the Disability Discrimination Act. Everyone else seems to be talking about it, so I thought I'd give my perspective as an old bloke about what it actually means. And in the words of Monty Python, what has the DDA ever done for us as disabled people? So I thought I'd take a look at a few of the areas where I think I've seen changes over the last few years. Whether or not they're attributable to the DDA, I don't really know, but certainly in 25 years, I've seen plenty of improvements. So firstly, I'm going to look at transport, and starting with public transport in particular. 25 years ago, when I first went to places like London, I would get off the train and I wouldn't be able to get on a bus. The buses were totally inaccessible. If I go to London now, they've got ramps, automatic ramps, and it's easy to get on. The drivers stop, the ramp opens, and it's really easy. I can get on, and they've got audible voice messages saying which stop you're coming to next, and they've got visual displays as well. So I imagine that helps other people as well as myself as a wheelchair user. Again, trains and the underground, I've seen drastic improvements. A quarter of a century ago, when I was travelling on the train, the only option was the guard's van, and I travelled with lab rats and Royal Mail. Not very exciting. Indeed, the only way I could get on the train was not in a powered chair, but in a manual chair. There weren't any ramps to push me up, so it needed someone at the front and someone at the back to hoik me into the guard's van, and I'd sit there for the whole journey without any heating or comforts, just sat waiting to get to the next station. And even when I got to the next station, I'd have to hope that they were accessible. I remember traveling once to somewhere in London, and I had to go all the way down to the next stop and come back on the other side because the platforms weren't very accessible. Something that has come around recently that I wasn't really aware of was trams. About a year ago now, I went to Nottingham, and the tram system is fantastic. I got out of the rail station, took a lift up to the road, and there's a platform for the trams straight away. And it really is wonderful. You just wheel on and wheel off. There's no ramps needed, no help needed at all. You're just free to come and get on and off when suits you. In terms of aviation, I think things are better. Well, I know they are. Yes, I'm still lifted onto a plane in a rather undignified manner. I do know that they have the Eagle hoist, which can be used to lift people on and off and make it a lot more comfortable. Also, at the airports, things are much better now. I don't have to wait in one area, unlike others who want to go shopping or have something to eat before they fly. We're just capable of going around the airport, and when the flight comes, off we go. That isn't true of all airports across the world. I have been to some where you just have to sit in a certain place and they won't let you move, which is not only undignified, but it's very sad as well. And again, as you'll have seen in some of the videos, I'm able to drive now. I have my own van with joystick control. And thanks to Motability over the last 25 years, and the government introduced grants for people like me who needed expensive adaptations to be able to drive. So that was another bonus. What about the built environment? Well, restaurants, pubs and clubs, more of them are now much more accessible than they were. Many of them have accessible toilets, and we've moved on from the days way before the DDA where I was told that I had to leave a pub because my wheelchair was a fire hazard. Many of the restaurants and pubs that have been reviewed on AccessAdvisr are getting good ratings. They've got accessible toilets, step-free access, so on and so forth. And that wasn't the case 25 years ago. I've done a lot of work over the years with the Football Association, the Football Stadium Advisory Design Committee, and the Football Supporters Association. I've been involved in looking at facilities and awarding grants to clubs that want to improve their facilities. We've moved on from 25 years ago, where basically the only place in the ground for disabled supporters was in the coldest and wettest corner of the ground with no toilet facilities. There was a shift towards a single area for disabled people, sometimes within an executive box, but many of us want the full experience and we want to be able to sit where we want. So it's pleasing to see that many stadiums now offer wheelchair user seating in different parts of the ground. and that's good. And it's especially true as an away fan, when now you can go and sit with your own friends and colleagues. Assistive technology has improved over the years. Nowadays, computers have that assistive technology built in, and there are design standards, such as the World Wide Web accessibility standards, which should mean that all websites should be accessible to all. So there, I've touched on some of the things that I see are improvements with the DDA. Do I think there's areas to improve? Yes, of course I do. There's a long way to go yet before we can boast about full inclusion and accessibility. So that was then, this is now, but what about tomorrow? Well, I'd like to see disabled people included in the design stage of almost anything, whether it's from a website to the national rails infrastructure. I also think in 25 years, we should see national accessibility standards across the entire transport infrastructure. It would reduce so much uncertainty for disabled people and would mean that when you're traveling, you know what you're going to get, and it's much easier to deal with. In business, I'd like to see more disabled people at senior management levels and even at board levels. I don't think there's enough at the moment, and I think that really needs to change. And I think we need a program to work out how we're going to get there. I recently saw an article which said that businesses are reluctant to employ disabled people. And I think it's important that disabled people are employed in companies at the highest levels and at any other level, so that we more closely reflect the diversity of our customers. I also think we need a more robust Equality and Human Rights Commission. I would like to see them get tougher when pushing for disabled people's rights, and at the moment I don't think that happens enough. In terms of assistive technology, we've got voice control now with Siri and Alexa and so forth, and I'd like to see how that could be harnessed at a reasonable cost to make things a lot easier for disabled people. It's important that assistive technology like Siri and Alexa doesn't come at the cost of excluding disabled people from taking a full part in society. So apart from transport and assistive technology and the built environment, what has the DDA ever done for us? I'd like to hear your thoughts, so please add your comments below and let me know what you think. Until the next time, bye for now.